This video is sponsored by Renaissance Bank, the best bank in the South. Check them out online at renaissancennation.com. Chomp, chomp. What's up, Gators? Let's talk about this guy, Felipe Franks. Back for another year, represented the Gators at SEC Media Days, and did make a big jump from 2 years ago to last season. So what if he makes that same jump to this year? And I can tell you, from watching Dan Mullen teams and quarterbacks over the years, they all, every one of them, improve from one year to the next. What if he does that this year? Well, let's take a look at last year. And we've had this theme of bounce back plays that show some toughness for quarterbacks, which is underrated, hard to evaluate. And if you look closely within a year, they all have those moments. We've, on this channel, looked at Joe Burrow and Jake Fromm. Now it's Felipe Franks' turn. And we're going to start back in the Tennessee game. Okay, here they are in a 1st and 10 in the first quarter scoreless game against Tennessee. You're going to read this thing, mesh it with the running back, read it, and he keeps it out of there. They jump it, hit him for a tackle for loss. So now you're going to be 2nd and long in a scoreless game on the road. But you watch this first one. Again, he's going to read that in. It looks that way. Now, it might be RPO. It looks like it could be. But the first part of the read is solid because the end steps down inside. And if that indeed is who he's reading on a normal zone, he's going to keep it out of it. So the next thing that happens, instead of getting a block in the slot, you got a guy who's running this route right here in and stepping back out. And so this is the defender who's able to jump it at the line of scrimmage and go tackle for loss. So if this is RPO, then already now you should be seeing the balls coming out on that next level read, which is a pass. Now, according to the rule, ball snap there behind the 20, you do have a lineman who's right at about that 3-yard deal, so it probably should work. And again, so if this is an RPO call, you got to get the ball out here to the slot. Instead, he hangs on to it, gets popped for a tackle for loss. So now what are you going to do? It's going to be 2nd and 13 on the road. The very next play, he comes in here and drills a strike down to the goal line on verticals. They go 5-man route, 5-man protection, and he drills it. So it's really a nice bounce back play. And if you kind of look at what's happening here, you don't really get to see the bottom of the screen too much in the TV stuff, but motion out here wide, defender widening with him. And so your routes that they're going to call is at skinny post vertical, vertical, skinny post, inside, outside. They're going to get an underneath by the number 2, but tight end's going to release vertical. And then I'm assuming vertical here, you can't really see it, and that could be underneath. But we know what we get in the screen. Keep in mind on 2nd and 13, Tennessee put 2 safeties back there. They're both off the screen. Here's one thing, whatever he's getting off screen here, his eyes initially go to the short side of the field where the tight end is also releasing vertical. But I think you got one of those safeties that's sitting out here wide outside the hash. So he just checked that. Now his eyes come back to play side. A linebacker is going to turn and get beat by this vertical. And so he's kind of reading, I think, verticals versus those safeties that are sitting back there in the middle of the field. You can see one of those safeties had widened all the way there. The other was way down here into the boundary, kind of on top of that outside route. So he got what he wanted against the linebacker and drilled a strike right to the 1-yard line. Great bounce back play. Okay, so the very next play, the 3rd play in the sequence, is on the goal line, and they're going to zone read it back the other way. Mess with the running back, read that thing, keep, and then run over a guy at the goal line. So after a negative play on the first play of a 3-play sequence, now 2 positive plays in a row. And this time, the action back here is a little different. His eyes are obviously not directly on this side of the line of scrimmage. So whatever the read or the call is a little different than your typical, reading the end man on the line of scrimmage. Because what you can see is he puts his eyes over here. And, if this is a called keep, it's pretty smart. Call it, design it, make it look that way, put our eyes here, and give yourself a better chance of keeping it as a QB. Otherwise, it could be a read back in here, but I don't know what the call is. It was a really good fake. And now he's free to the goal line. Kind of like on the TFL play, kind of goes a little deep. His angle really ought to be kind of right here on the onset. So he rounds it off, and a guy's got a chance, but now he's got to be physical. And this is a quarterback looking him up, knowing where the goal line is, playing physical football. there's an example of two things that I thought he made a big jump last year. Dan Mullen and company really improved Felipe Franks. Reading verticals against safeties, reading safeties, where to put the ball and throwing it accurately based on that particular concept. And then the other is just simply running the ball and being a physical threat running the ball. That improved their offense, it upped their win total, and it made Franks a much better quarterback. Here's another second long play. This is in the LSU game. They go 3-man route to the field and get him in third man inside, deep corner route, and get it open. The protection is a huge key, but he stands in there, throws a strike for a huge play. And first of all, the throw is an excellent throw. It's a good read too. And you look at the design, at what they do. Again, 2nd and 14. And so 3 men wide of the field. You got singled up into the boundary. And what LSU gives them is a single safety back here off screen. And so he's going to kind of read it off that. They're going to inside release here and some type of vertical at the safety here. And they're going to get another deep route and just kind of play off of him, read him in the middle of the field. They're underneath here to hold guys underneath. And so it's a pretty clean read when they get the coverage that they want. Protection is not bad at all, but it is a guy who's having to step up and feels it kind of right away. There's a pocket here, but it's a tight one. And this is a big, strong kid who's standing in there in that pocket, eyes downfield, and with a few bodies around him and right on his elbow, he's able to drill it in there. And placement on that ball is really good here, right on the sideline. Again, if it's left inside at all, it's going to be batted away. If it's underthrown, DB's got to play. So out here in this window, out on the sideline, just really a perfect throw at a big time. Very next play, they come in there on the goal line and get them an easy read on what's kind of the backside into the boundary, away from their bunch. Gets a wide open tight end. They got 2 guys open for a TD here. Really good design. You can see the running back underneath. With that design bunched over here, look at all these defenders in this box. How many do we have right there? 6 defenders that are on the football or this way. And so you got a numbers game going where there's really going to be only one next level defender on that side. You're hoping a tight end gets behind him. Going to put a running back in front of him there and play off of him. Really simple read, but a good job by QB. Again here, because you have to be accurate knowing you're going to get hit and you got a free guy in your face, but not worried about rush or contact. Eyes are downfield. He's got 2 guys he can hit for a touchdown and chooses the tight end in the back. Hey, real quick, too, jumping away from the highlights, I thought you'd want to see this. I had Chris Doering on my radio show this week. Chris Doering, former Gator receiver, All-American, and now analyst for the SEC Network, and we talked specifically about what he saw last year in Felipe Franks and what he wants to see from him this year.
He adds everything you want in terms of the tools as a thrower. 6'6", he's 250-plus pounds, this sturdy guy that now has shown some durability as well. A guy that can spin it. It comes off nicely from his hand. This year, what I'd like to see from him is some improved accuracy. Missed some throws at times last year that you just can't miss if you're going to be a guy that puts yourself in position to play in the NFL. I think the decision-making was better last year than it was his first year, but still at times forces throws down the field, is not as apt to take the checkdowns as I think he needs to. So that's where I want to see him improve this year as well. And then as a leader, I mean, that's what we've talked about a lot during the offseason here locally, is him understanding his role as a leader on the offense, as a leader on this team. I watched him in the spring take guys to the side and talk through some of the things that they're seeing out there on the field, taking time to throw with not only some of the younger receivers, but taking the time to help with some of the younger quarterbacks too. So I think he's developing and better understanding what that leadership role requires of him in terms of execution rather than just talk, which I think that was kind of the case prior to last season.
Here's a play in their bowl game against Michigan. They're going to vertical against a single high safety and kind of read him. There's a lot going on, but they get what they want. That slot vertical, safety stayed in the middle, and another perfect throw up that seam. Again, I said, like a lot going on. If you look at the route, that's going to affect the safety. The H-back tight end is deep, and on that dig is going to eventually get him in that window, and they're going to drag it across there underneath, try to affect those linebackers. If you got back around to that, you could read it, but it kind of got muddied up because they showed him man free, like a man-to-man with a free safety look, but it's really kind of some kind of combo. They start dropping into a zone. But initially, what he's doing is reading that safety, and he knows if I can get release here, he's got a window over there. If the safety flies out of there, then he'll come back and read this side. So it just looks like to me, this is the initial read, and that is to the field with that slot vertical. So that pre-snap read, look what he does. His eyes initially are on this side of the field, linebackers. Safety is reading quarterback. He's playing free safety, and so he kind of hangs in there right out here in the middle of the field. So just that little look this way helped him to create that separation for his slot receiver who's going to get free on that vertical. So he kind of manipulated the play. And there again, it's just a really good throw. Out in front, puts it on him where he can catch it in stride. Could the throw be better? Yeah, probably. Outside, tease a DB, get your free release inside. It's a really good route. How could the throw be better? So right here, he's free. He can, score. This ball placement is on his outside back shoulder. You've seen him now he's going to drift. So it is a really good throw. It's away from any kind of, defense. He didn't leave it inside or underthrow it. If that ball is put right here on a dead rope to that number 2 on the 20, then he's not going to slow down and catch it and probably scores right here. So a little bit on the back shoulder slows him down to the outside and allows somebody to get him out of bounds. Another play in a bowl game, got a 3 receiver side with an H-back into the boundary, and number 2 slot on 3rd and 12 is going to get behind the safety, and he drills it in there. Now, on that particular view, you don't get the whole field or the whole route. What you do know is that he's here vertical in the middle. You're going to release and outside with your H-back tight end. Back's going to check and release on the other side. Not real sure what happens here. It looks like vertical. We can check that later on a wide view. But they give him 2 safeties. So if you look at his pre-snap, this looks like cover 2. Hard corners, and 2 deep safeties in the middle of the field that can split. Then you get zone on snap. Really clean pocket. They're kind of dominating here in the pass pro. And this is a really tight window throw. And what this is the defender who is running with him from the snap. This is actually one of the safeties that lined up in the middle of the field, and he's throwing it over his shoulder as he widened. So really confident throw in the middle past the safety. So that's where the ball goes. You can see kind of what he had on the read. Vertical. The outright there by the tight end underneath was covered. But he just went to the middle of the field. It's wide open there with that safety once he widened. But the safety then turns and kind of recovers and is trying to. So this is a throw where he had to put it to the inside. It's a confident read and a confident throw into a pretty small window. And one other thing to note, a lot of defensive breakdowns. You're getting hit deep. You look at all these defenders that are trying to defend you on vertical stuff, everybody dropping. If he hangs in that pocket, if he winds up not going into the middle of the field, if he decides that everybody is covered deep, nobody covered his back out of the backfield. That's one of those where if your eyes happen to flip out, or if he's going to escape, sees him late and gets it to him, the kid's going to run all he wants to. But still you get a big play because he put the ball to the inside, so it's an accurate throw. Chomp. There you go, Gators. Everybody that's a Gator fan knows those plays and things. And look, that's last year. There's no guarantee that everything translates. Players either get better or get worse in the offseason. There's no staying the same. With all that said, just a brief look at a few things he did well last year. And if that production kind of goes up, if it's a 20% jump, now another 30% jump, or 40% from last year to this, it could be good news for Gator Nation. All right, hope you enjoyed that. If you did, let me know about it on Twitter and Instagram. I'm Radio Wyatt. Hit me up there. Also, thanks to Renaissance Bank for always sponsoring these videos. Really appreciate them. The best bank in the South. Hit them up. Go in there and see them. Tell them I sent you. All right, thanks for watching. See you next time. See ya.